Welcome to another episode of 50 Shades of Grey, where we are following the journey of three very brave women who are allowing us to see into their online dating experience. And we are now on episode 3. So good evening, everyone. How are we all doing?
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Good.
Pretty good. 3 weeks in. Pretty good.
Good. So we left it last week where there were potential dates and there were the conversations that were happening with people. So Ali, do you want to start us off and tell us how your week's been?
Yeah, my week's been good. So last time we spoke, I think my date was arranged for the Friday. So I think we spoke on Wednesday and my date's going to be Friday. He was supposed to be contacting me in the evening. We were doing the podcast to confirm. Didn't hear from him. So the next day I just sent a bit of a hi, how you doing? And just didn't get a response. So decided that, after 24 hours, if you haven't responded and you're supposed to be going out the following evening, not for me. So I just sent him a text and said, it was nice to chat, but I'm going to bail out. And he replied and said, okay then. And I didn't give a reason why, because I kind of feel like you don't need to give a reason why. He's shown that there was no commitment to actually going on a date. So I cancelled that one. And yeah, I have now got another date. Been chatting to some more guys. So 2 potentials, but one for a date tomorrow night.
Look at you.
It's like buses. They all come along at once. So I decided I'm very much of the kind of opinion that I chat to one person at a time, because, I match with people, but I won't really kind of engage in conversation too much if I'm already engaged with somebody else, because I just kind of feel you kind of forget stuff about, who they are and stuff they've told you. But this time, because it kind of just all of a sudden the floodgates opened, I've kind of been chatting to 3 guys, but I've kind of closed one down because there was just things that weren't for me. And I know this is going to sound really shallow, and it'd be great to get your opinions on this. His profile was really limited in photos, so I'd asked him to send me some more pictures. And when the pictures came through, it was just a no for me, which I know sounds really, really shallow.
Not at all.
And I was like, God, how do I get out of this now? We've been chatting, and all of his pictures, he was obviously really keen into his sports. So there was one of him on a bike and he had like his helmet on. There was another one with sunglasses. There was another one with a baseball cap. I'm like, are you
Ali, I didn't think Jules would be the one that would laugh there. I expected it to be me. Jules.
If they were just constantly, it was like there was props in every picture. So when I actually got the photo, and I felt so bad. I hate it when you've got to let someone down, because how do you say, actually, I'm just not attracted to you? That's quite a hard conversation.
It is, but I do think though, Ali, we had this conversation on the first week, I think. If he's not putting those pictures out there for you to see what he looks like,
yeah,
then, everyone is attracted to different things. So
yeah,
you may have been really attracted to him, but you'd have known that straight away if he'd have put the pictures on in the first place.
Yeah, I think because, there was a lot of things that did tick boxes. So I tend to date taller guys. So he was 6'4", clearly into his sports. His profile there was a lot of things that kind of matched with me. So, and he looked like he had a nice face. Oh, it sounds awful. But when just when the pictures came through. So I just said, I've got to be honest. He said, am I your usual sort? And I said, I've got to be honest with you. No, you're not. However, I also, it's about the person. And he said, oh, I'm really pleased you've said that it's all about the person. And I didn't say it was all about the person. I said that also comes into play. And I just had to put my big girl pants on, and just overnight I did just unmatch, because I didn't know what else to say, because I didn't want to say to him, I'm just really am not attracted to you. I've said you're not my usual sort. And so I tried to let him down gently, and we've all been there when it's happened to us, right? So
completely. So that's a good point. So do we think that internet dating is a personal thing or not?
God, no, not at all. It's a meat market.
I don't know.
Full.
I think it depends who you're talking to. You can kind of tell the people that would just take it with a pinch of salt by letting them down. And I think you can also tell the people that would be disappointed, just in the way that his messages were. I knew for him, and I think it was quite new to online dating. And I thought, oh, this is just, I'm going to be part of your bad experience. And even though I knew that him and I didn't have a connection, he was talking like we did. So it's that kind of like, oh, and you know, the other way round, I take it with a pinch of salt, but I don't like doing it to other people.
I think
But
it
Ali,
depends.
it's not your responsibility though.
I know.
It's really not your responsibility. As long as, like, if you'd been really awful and gone, here, mate, I don't
Yeah.
know whether you've got a mirror in your house, but maybe don't come out at night and only come out at Halloween. If you'd been really brutal, then fair enough. But you know, what it would have been worse if you'd gone, oh, I don't want to upset him, and then you'd gone out on a date knowing that it
Yeah,
just wasn't for you.
exactly.
So you don't need to make an
Exactly.
excuse. You did a really
Yeah.
good thing. And ultimately it's about your connection. And if it's just not
Yeah.
there, it's not there.
Exactly. And I don't want to waste my time or theirs. So, but then the other two we've been talking, one has gone away to Miami on a business conference, so he's not back till the weekend. We're still chatting most nights. And then the other one, we've got a date tomorrow night. So
we'll get an update next week, Ali, on how that went.
if it happens, yeah.
If-
I never
If it
actually happens.
So B, how about you? How's your week been?
So I had started chatting, I think last week. I'd started chatting with Thor.
Yeah.
So the girls know what I'm going to say here, and they do not approve. Oh, I was at a function on Thursday night, really beautiful function, and it was one of those functions that finishes kind of like 9 o'clock, something like that. And he'd texted and he'd said, "Are you still there?" And I was like, "Actually, no, I'm just leaving now." And he was like, "Well, why don't you come to this bar, which I have to walk past to get to my car?" He was like, "Why don't you come?" And I was like, "Who are you with though? Are you with all of your friends?" And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't really want to interrupt you if you're with all of your friends. He was like, "Don't be daft, just come down." And I thought, do you know what? This is actually a really, really good idea, because I can just walk in, and if I take one look and go, "Not today, sailor," then I can just walk straight by, go to the toilets, and then walk back out again. And then if I'm like, okay, let's see what your crack is. There's plenty of people sat around the table, so I can kind of like have a bit of like 10 minutes chat with everybody, because I'll speak to anybody and no harm done, and then I can leave. Or I can get there and actually I'm like, "You'll do for me." So the girls are like, "I can't believe he asked you to join his mates. Can't believe it." But for me, I thought it was a really good idea, to be fair. And I did go, and his mates were lovely. Very, very keen to tell embarrassing stories about him. Probably all the things that you would not find out till a lot later. Like, some of them were funny, some of them were like, "Oh, he really did not want me to know that at all." So it was quite a clever fact-finding mission. So that was it. But I've spoken to him since, but I've never seen him since. But I've got to be honest, I don't know whether he's looking for friendship. For me, and I've said this 1,000 times before, we all have a history when you get to our age. We all have a history, and we all have a certain amount of baggage. But there's a difference between baggage and red flags.
Mm-hmm.
And there are unfortunately some red flags that can't be got over. One of them being kind of, if there's an ex there that isn't going to be particularly receptive to a new person coming into life, that's not something you can get over. So we'll stay friends for now.
So B, let me ask you, are these red flags brought about because of the stories of his mates, or are
No.
they something that you picked up yourself?
No, these are things that he's told us about. His kind of present position in relationship, where he is. He has a child. He's in the middle of a divorce. That's no biggie. But there are things there that would be very, very challenging in a relationship. And if I'm honest, I just think I'm too old and too ugly to go, okay, well, I'll just take them on as well, because we all have lots of challenges in daily life anyway. Do I want to necessarily take on that level of challenge? There's a difference between climbing the hill at the end of the village to like having to do Kilimanjaro on the first night out. So yeah, his mates, to be fair, I mean, his mates raised some interesting points, but all things that I could kind of get over, because like I say, we were all young once, but there's definitely some red flags.
I do think sort of friends, especially male friends, tend to do that. They take great pleasure in throwing their mates under the bus.
Yeah.
And it's not like the WhatsApp group that you guys are on. It's literally completely the opposite, that you don't get any support whatsoever. and everyone just takes any opportunity that they can to
Yeah.
make you feel even worse about yourself than you already do.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting, actually. But I think him inviting you down with his friends, I think that's quite a brave thing to do on his part as well, actually. I really do think it is. And I think it probably softens it a little bit as well, because you don't feel under too much pressure then, because like you said,
Yeah.
lots of people to speak to, and you can always leave without embarrassing him as well.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of times that I was like, oh, what's that noise? What's that noise? Ding, ding. Oh, that's the bus you've just been thrown under, isn't it? Again. But yeah, it was a good night. I had a good night. Nothing was lost.
Well,
Went home a little bit later than normal.
Maybe that would be one to just keep on the back burner, stay friends with until he sorts out the things that, I don't know, maybe you see as a challenge. It might be in a year or so, it might be a different landscape.
I'd love to think so, but these things don't normally work out.
They're quite big things, weren't they?
Be careful here, aren't I? I'm really careful here, sort of thing.
So, Jules, how about you? How's your week been?
Well, I had, like Ali, I had a date lined up for Friday, but Thursday I messaged, and I hadn't, as I've said before, I don't really get into too much messaging. I like to meet the person, first of all, fairly quickly, because I like to ask the questions and have the banter face to face, so I can sort of get their body language and what I ask them. You're going to get a response straight away. Whereas rather it's in a message, they might go away and not come back for half an hour or so, and you think, well, are they putting the message? Is it what you think they want you to see? Have they gone away and thought about, think, well, actually, I think I'm going to say that, rather than it just being face to face, straight, there and then. But I didn't get any response. So I thought, right. So I left it again, messaged again. And then the next thing, the evening, it disappeared. He disappeared. So I thought, right, okay. So that was that. Everyone else, I'm on Bumble, but everyone else that I've done, like you said, I've done it. I've swiped. No.
Completed it.
That's not me. I'm not saying I'm being fussy. It's just me and my taste, and there was no one there that I caught my eye. So I've literally come off of it now, and I'm trying Facebook, because was it you, Annie, said that Facebook? And actually, it's actually quite easy to use, and it's actually quite nice. It's free as well. So there's a couple that I've sort of caught my eye, but I think it's me. I've worked out that I'm not looking for a full-on relationship, like I've said to you before, and that's where I am. So I've seen a few, but I've not messaged anyone.
Jules,
One of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast over a 4-week period and not just a one-off episode, as it were, because I think it's quite prevalent that when you're doing dating in midlife, that there's the initial sort of exciting buzz of it, and then there's this sifting through what is out there, and then I am picking up a little bit of that vibes. Where are we all? Because I think this will resonate with a lot of people that are viewing, a lot of people that are watching this. So when you're feeling like this, what is your next step for you? What is your thought process?
I think, like you were saying, first of all, if you come out of a relationship, you're all excited, and you get sort of really excited when you're going to go out for a date, and you match with somebody, and you chat, and that goes on for a little while. You then learn the dates that you go on, or the messaging, or the pictures that you see. You start learning the pitfalls, as in what is going to work for you, what doesn't work for you, whether it's just a headshot, whether it's just the one picture.
I think you've been on a journey of self-discovery in the last 3 weeks. I really think you have. I think you've just, you came in at this one point.
Yeah.
So, B, how about you? Where's your headspace at the moment with it all?
I think probably it was funny this afternoon because Bumble was like, "You've got a match." Have I? How's that happened? So then looked, Lee, 52 from Leeds. All right then, swipe up, join for $9.99. Oh, God damn you and your market. I think, but I wasn't upset about it. I was kind of like, do you know what? That's what it is. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to what I've said before. I've had 3 big relationships in my life. I genuinely feel that in one of them I was very, very much loved and very much in love. And if that's it for me, then that's it for me. That's not me saying, you know, oh, I'm going to be on the shelf, I'm going to be a spinster or anything. I'm just really accepting, but I'm not prepared to kind of compromise on the big things. Little things like, all right, he's 5'4". It's not ideal. With heels on, I'm like 19 foot tall, so that's not ideal. But it's not a deal breaker for us. If you live, 400 miles away, not a deal breaker. You make it work. There's loads of things that you can make work, but those things that I'm kind of resolute in, yeah, that having an ex that posts things on Facebook about you and is potentially going to do it with me. Yeah, I don't need that in my life. I can do without that. I'm just gonna stick to my life, going out with my mates, going to concerts, going swimming in the sea. Got a great life.
But that's what I mean with saying with you, you're comfortable with your life.
Yeah.
You've been that. So that's the difference of someone coming out of a relationship and emotionally they're all over the place, to then going down the road as you have been and me, and then you're in a position where you've got that.
Do you know, I'm just listening to both of you, and it's interesting because I feel the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I feel very differently to how you guys feel. And I don't know if that's because, and tell me if I'm wrong, you've only been doing online dating for a short period, or have you done it?
No, 4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay.
On and off.
Yeah.
On and off.
I think, if I reflect back before my last serious relationship, I went through those periods of really kind of, oh God, this is, so frustrating. The kind of the ghosting or the letdowns, but for as many of them, there was as many great dates where, I met great guys, but there just either wasn't the connection for both of us or one of us. And I'm at a place now, and maybe it is very different for me because I've never had children. So it is just me. I've got an amazing circle of friends, but most of them are in couples. It doesn't stop them socialising. We have girls' night, we have mixed evenings. I've got a really, really active social life. So I'm not missing, I don't need someone, but I'm just at a place where my life is really good. I am in a great place and I know what I can offer to somebody. And I just I guess I've learned over the years that to take the knocks, let it go straight over your shoulder and just continue. And I don't feel defeated. But there was definitely times when I felt, I've exhausted all the options. I'm not matching with anybody that I like the look of or the sound of, and kind of going on dates and feeling really defeated that you were expecting a really good night and you come back going, oh yeah, it was all right, but not excited. This time round, I feel completely different. I just feel if it's meant to be, it will be. I'm approaching it slightly different. So for tomorrow night, the guy has suggested that we go to Nando's for a bite to eat and then go bowling.
You know why?
Yes, you've said he wants to check out my backside.
What, in Nando's?
No, bowling. No, in Nando's there'll be chicken breast.
But
That's what I thought.
it really wouldn't be my usual style of date. I prefer just to meet for a drink, maybe a drink and dinner if things go well. I've done a couple of dates where we've kind of done like crazy golf or something and it's fun. But I think for him, he's really tried to think a bit outside the box and I kind of like that. So although it's not really my usual kind of date to go bowling, I'm just going with it because there would have been a time when the old Ali would have said, oh, can we just do this? Or, he's made the suggestion, he's put the effort in. Go along with what he suggests and just see how it goes. And I take the date so lightheartedly now. I don't get to a stage where I'm too invested in anyone to feel let down because I've done that before. I've spent, weeks chatting to someone and then you go on the date and you have that, whirlwind of emotions because you're on a bit of a high and then it just goes, yeah. So I guess, yeah, I just feel excited. And I guess I'm on 2 sites as well. So obviously I'm on Tinder and Facebook. So maybe that means there's more options if you're doubling up. Although I do see the same faces, and I wondered, Jules, have you found that now that you've joined Facebook?
Yes,
You've
I
seen the
have.
same people.
Yeah, I have seen the same faces, same pictures. In fact, I mean, I've been on and off for about 4 or 5 years now, and more off than on, I have to say. And I've been on Plenty of Fish, Bumble, and Facebook now.
I think that's just, I mean, I've had that with girls before. So I think it's just where they're just matching with so many people, they just forget. And it could have been a year ago that they, you know, and a lot goes on in a year for people. And some people are better with faces and names than elsewhere. What will be interesting, though, Jules, is if you find the same people, but you find the communication different. Because you're on like on Facebook, maybe it's, I think as Ali said, it's sort of you're introduced through friends. So it will be interesting next week to see if your communications with people has sort of followed a slightly different pattern to maybe that of
It's completely
Tinder.
different now anyway, because you get to message, whereas Facebook, you get to see them and you can get message. You get that converse straight away. So it's completely different anyway from the start.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell though that you're having loads of fun. You're just like a thundercloud of effervescence. You can just see that you're having loads of fun. So that, you know, like, why would you give up when you're having that much fun? For me, I'm kind of like, I tried it. I'm neither neither.
I think the dating sites are very much like a roller coaster. You kind of buy a ticket, you get on, you enjoy the thrills, you throw your arms up in the air. There's going to times when you feel a little bit sick. And then when you've done, you kind of get off. And if you want another go, you line up and do it. And that's how you need to approach it. And Ali looks like she's got both her hands in the air.
And go, what?
Loving life. And Jules and B, you know, like you're feeling really nauseous and just get me off of here.
Not nauseous. Oh, bless you. It's
I think you have to do that sometimes. I think you have to put your phone down and say, I just need a bit of a dating detox. I just need, you know, whether it's a couple of days or a week, and just kind of gather your thoughts again and then go back to it.
Yeah, it can be very addictive for anyone that's starting off. It can be very addictive with your phone, and you know, you get a message because you get it through sort of your emails or so. You've got a message, you know, and you think quick look, and then it's disappointed, or you know, you think, well, yeah, I want to message that person. It is addictive.
Make no mistake though, Jules, the whole point of dating sites is to make money. You know, I know for us the whole point of a dating site is to meet people, but people aren't making businesses to just make people happy. So they are designed to be addictive. That's what they're designed for.
No, that's true. Don't think about it like that.
On there.
Yeah, you know, that's true. Yeah.
They're trying to take money off you. They're trying to engage you. And if they can't take money off you, they're tracking and farming your data. So, and I understand why they're doing that, because
oh my God, now it's really unromantic, isn't it?
No,
it's true though, isn't it?
Yeah. It is true. I mean, but if I did a dating site, well, one of the purposes would be to match people up, but it would be about making money. You know,
it's a business.
You've got to be realistic about it as well. Yeah. And that's the primary purpose of a business, is to make money. You know, you've got a cleaning business. You don't do it because you love cleaning and want everyone to have a lovely, sparkly house. You do it because you want to make some money. So I think they are addictive, but you've got to use them in a way that suits your life. And I think that is very individual. For some people, it'll be sitting on it all night. For other people, it'll be just going on it for 10 minutes and then having 2 weeks off of it.
Yeah. And I think as well, one thing that I noticed I was doing when I was on the sites before, they were on my homepage on your phone. So most of us have all got, you know, your iPhone. And so you can see when there's matches, can't you? Like if you get a message, it's like 1, 2, whatever, you can see it. And that temptation, which I think we've all got with all social media, you know, you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing we do? We pick up our phones, don't we? And we sort of, well, I do. You have a little scroll through Instagram, a bit through Facebook. And I just found that I was adding to that with, oh, let's just have a little scroll through Tinder. And, you know, an hour could pass and you've, you know, Saturday morning and you think, what have I achieved? Nothing. So what I do now is my Tinder, my Facebook one's different because it obviously the dating's within the app, but my Tinder is on 3 pages along from my home screen. And so I don't look at it constantly. And I just think, oh, if I've got 10 minutes during my lunch break and I fancy having a look, I'll have a look then and I'll just dedicate that time. But for the rest of the afternoon, when I'm at work, I'm not going to sit there messaging people. And I just, I don't feel that need to be on it constantly. And there was times when I felt that I was. And I think that's sometimes how you get really exhausted from it. Because it can feel like it takes over a bit. It's an addiction, like you said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if that would help, just moving.
So I think between now and next week, what I'd really like is one of the things that we're going to do next week is I think rate each of the sites that we've had experience with for other people. Because I think that's one of the questions that people ask. If I'm going to use dating sites, which ones should I use? So we're going to have a think about that between now and next week. And then just see how you get on between now and this week with whatever you're doing. And if you're not doing anything, next week we'll just look at where you are for your next steps going forward. Because I think for each of you, you'll represent different sections of people, so there'll be different people that will identify with each one of you, and I think that'll be a really good signpost for them as to where they can go to as well. If you get to a stage like got rid of everything else, then we'll see what happens. And Ali's jumping on everything. She's in the middle of a theme park and she's got a load of tokens, which is great.
We don't need the guys to hear that. Jumping on everything.
Do you know what? There's been
Just
far too
enjoying-
many times when I've sniggered tonight. Way too many times. Way too many times.
Just enjoying the day out, Ali. That's what I mean, and that's a great place to be.
Yeah,
that's a really great place to be. Well, guys, listen, thank you so much for joining me again on 50 Shades. Make sure everyone you subscribe and follow and catch up with us again next week for the last episode that we'll see where we're all going. Take care, guys. Bye bye.